Welcome to the Aging with Options Show. I'm Chris McCutcheon. Thank you for joining us today. The Aging with Options Show is all about seniors in the Louisville area, as well as loved ones who care for our seniors. We're pleased to bring you every week at this time interesting topics for our senior community. We cover a variety of subjects on the show, from healthcare, innovative products, to aging in place, as well as local senior events, just to name a few. For our show today, we are talking about veterans and benefits that are available to our country's veterans. Many veterans have access to certain benefits, but they either don't know they exist or don't know how to properly and effectively secure those benefits. My guest today is Tony Roberts. Tony is the president of A. Roberts and Associates. Through his agency, Tony assists clients with their insurance, estate, and retirement planning needs. As part of his services, Tony also assists veterans in securing pension and benefits through the Veterans Administration. Tony, thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Chris. Glad to be here this afternoon.
I appreciate you being on. So just to get us started, Tony, the benefit that we're talking about for veterans today, the subject primarily of our conversation, is what's called the aid and attendance benefit.
That is correct.
Tell us what that is. What is the aid and attendance benefit?
Well, it's aid and attendance is actually a brief name for the benefit. The benefit came about and was enacted and passed by Congress actually back in 1951. So it's been around for a long period of time. However, a lot of the veterans that we help today, when I asked them when was the first time you heard about this benefit, they basically said we just heard about it. So it's not something that I think our federal government is out there, putting on the airwaves saying, "Hey, look, go see somebody about this benefit."
Wow. So how typically are they supposed to be educated, other than you're bringing the information to bear? What's the normal channel that at least should play out for veterans to be aware of the aid and attendance benefit?
Well, there's information that they can actually get from the VA. I mean, if they wanted to call the VA and ask them about the aid and attendance benefit, then there would be a certain amount of information that they could get from the VA. However, the VA is basically there to give them, to a degree, yes and no questions as far as what their individual qualifications are. Our organization that I'm a professional member of, the American Association of Wartime Veterans, it's actually our goal by 2013 to educate over 1 million families nationwide about this benefit. And, our mission statement, so to speak, is to educate and communicate what this benefit is and how it can maybe help to alleviate some of the financial pressures that our veterans and senior citizens have when they're looking at the cost of being able to afford care in their senior years. So
that was the American Association of Wartime Veterans is the group that you're a member of. Mm-hmm. And how long has that group been around?
It was organized in Michigan in 2002.
Okay. And your goal is to educate and communicate with veterans specific just to this benefit, then?
Exactly right. Okay. This benefit is the only benefit that we do any planning for or anything such as that or communicate and from the VA standpoint. I mean, sometimes I'll have veterans in my seminar. I'll ask me about some other VA benefits and this, that, and the other. We really don't get into that. We try to be up front and experts with this benefit and this benefit only. We've got people such as myself, CPAs, elder care, and estate planning attorneys across the country that, again, have taken the oath, so to speak, to help educate and communicate this benefit to our veterans. And a lot of it is done through the communities and companies and organizations such, which you're a part of, Chris, that, when you are out there in the senior market talking to your clients and potential clients, you all let them know that this benefit exists, and a lot of times you point them to us for additional information.
So let's jump right in, Tony. The aid and attendance benefit, we've been kind of leading up to it. Tell us exactly who's eligible for this benefit.
Well, there's a couple of different criteria, but the basics are simply this: if a veteran has completed 90 consecutive days of service, and at least one day is during a period of war, Now, that doesn't mean that they were on the front line in Europe or Japan or anything like that during World War II. But for the most part, if they were even stateside and it was a period of war, then they would meet one of the eligibility criteria for the benefit. So again, 90 days service, consecutive days of service, 1 day during a wartime period. They must establish a care need, and that's sort of where organizations such as yours, Chris, come into play, and the fact that mom or dad may not be able to do some things as good as they used to be, and they need some assistance, and so the benefit is saying, okay, if you've got a care need that's out there, and you need some assistance from somebody, either coming into your home or going into a community or something like that, then that's another qualifier that has to be met. And the last two pieces are, we have a means test as far as qualified medical expenses versus whatever their income may be, and also we have to take a look at whatever their total assets are.
Okay, so total assets. So 90 days of consecutive service with at least 1 day having been served during wartime.
Correct.
Not necessarily on the front lines.
Correct.
An established care need, meaning that there's certain activities of daily living that the veteran is not able to perform on their own.
Correct, and that could be something as like a medication management. They may, most of our seniors may be taking, several meds a day, so it may be an issue to where they would benefit by having a professional medication management program established for them. Sometimes we have issues with stability. So it may be an issue to have, a care need there for maybe bathing or shower assistance. Mm-hmm. And then, in more high levels of care, you may actually have situations to where you need someone to be there to actually do feeding or transferring incontinence issues and different things like that.
Are there a certain number of those ADLs, activities of daily living, that a veteran has to qualify, saying that they can only perform a certain number of those on their own? Well,
that's another one of the key areas. Unlike what we consider to be regular long-term care ADLs to a degree of qualifying for, let's say, a long-term care benefit under a long-term care policy, with the VA, they recognize that if you're getting assistance with one ADL, then that is that meets the qualifier for that particular area.
One ADL only.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
And then the third test that you mentioned is the means test, which involves qualified medical expenses.
That is correct.
Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, it's a situation, again, where the VA looks at it and says, okay, let's, in the environment that the veteran is receiving care, is it an environment that lends itself for their care needs? So, if you got somebody that's coming into the home, and let's say they're providing shower assistance, is it convenient for the shower? Is it safe for the veteran to be able to get in and out of the shower easily, or maybe they need to have assistance to be able to do that? So that's the piece of it right there. So whatever those costs involved, then go back to the point of saying, if a community is providing a care need and the care need is being based in the community, and the community is a protective environment, and they've got pull cords and they've got providing 3 square meals a day, then we can look at the total cost of that community as a medical expense, so to speak, to help offset the income that the veteran has coming in, and again trying to make sure and we meet that means test in order to be able to get that qualifier.
And that's part of the work that you do to help determine whether or not that means test is met.
That is correct.
Sounds good. My guest in the studio is Tony Roberts, president of A. Roberts & Associates. We're talking about securing pension benefits for veterans in the Louisville area. We'll take a quick break and be right back with Tony and more topics of interest to seniors right after these messages. You're listening to Aging with Options on 970 WGTK.